Cyrus was a very innovative builder, and I might add that his standards were particularly high.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the greatest human beings who have ever walked the earth. For this list, we will be shying away from religious and biblical figures. Instead, we'll be focused on remarkable individuals from throughout history.
Outside of the scientific community, no one had even heard of Albert Einstein, let alone his bizarre theories. Now the public learns that everything they believe about the universe is wrong.
Number 10, Florence Nightingale.
I knew that being a wife and mother would never be enough. I had this idea that I would do something with my life, and I wouldn't let it go.
Known as the Lady with the Lamp, Florence Nightingale is the mother of modern nursing. On the front line, she was horrified by the unsanitary conditions of military hospitals during the Crimean War. She took charge, introducing rigorous hygiene practices and patient care standards. Death rates plummeted. She then took her expertise beyond the battlefield. Nightingale founded the world's first secular nursing school. Then she fought for public health reforms that rippled across the world. Nightingale didn't just tend to the sick, she transformed nursing into a respected profession. She was proof that compassion and science could work hand in hand to save lives on a massive scale. Her legacy is so enduring that International Nurses Day is celebrated on her birthday.
I am more interested in tending to the living, Dr. Mears. Only God can help the dying.
Quite.
Now, I am naturally under your orders, so when you want us, my nurses are at your service.
Number 9, Martin Luther King Jr.
Well, this is a terrible thing. I've been in many demonstrations all across the South, but I can say that I have never seen, even in Mississippi and Alabama, mobs as hostile and as hate-filled as I've seen here in Chicago.
He was armed with nothing but his voice, his faith, and his unshakable resolve. Martin Luther King Jr. was the face and the conscience of the American Civil Rights Movement. Preaching nonviolent resistance, he organized marches, boycotts, and sit-ins challenging the deep injustices of segregation. His leadership helped secure the Civil Rights Act of 1964. He also played a key role in the Voting Rights Act of 1965. King's speeches, especially I Have a Dream, gave moral clarity to generations of young people. They remain some of the most powerful words ever spoken. His life was cut short by assassination, but his legacy as a champion of equality and justice continues to inspire.
But we must march. We must stand up. We must make a massive demonstration of our moral certainty.
Number 8, Nelson Mandela.
We're fighting a principle, we're fighting white domination. And in the course of that struggle, we can even form friendships with people from the other side.
Few leaders embody resilience like Nelson Mandela. A lawyer turned activist, he became the face of South Africa's struggle against apartheid. For his efforts, he spent 27 years in prison. Mandela refused to compromise his principles even when freedom was offered in exchange for silence. When finally released in 1990, Mandela's moral authority was undeniable. He led negotiations that dismantled apartheid. In 1994, he became South Africa's first black president.
I, Nelson Mandela, do hereby swear to be faithful to the Republic of South Africa. So help me God.
Rather than seek vengeance, he embraced reconciliation. He pushed for national unity and championed forgiveness as a path to healing. Mandela's courage and leadership earned him the Nobel Peace Prize. He endures as one of history's greatest symbols of justice and human dignity.
I, therefore, place the remaining years of my life in your hands.
Number 7, Marie Curie.
They don't like you here.
Nonsense. They're merely having a hard time separating my scientific life from my personal life.
Marie Curie's brilliance literally lit up the scientific world. A pioneering physicist and chemist, she discovered the elements polonium and radium. Oh, and she just so happened to coin the term radioactivity along the way. Her groundbreaking work earned her 2 Nobel Prizes, one in physics and another in chemistry. She was the first person ever to win in 2 different fields. Curie's discoveries revolutionized science, yes, but more importantly, they laid the foundation for life-saving medical advances like X-rays and cancer treatments.
Marie becomes the first woman in history to be awarded a doctorate in physics. The existence of radium is at last demonstrated, and Marie defines its atomic mass.
Her relentless pursuit of knowledge came at great personal cost. Years of exposure to radiation led to her passing in 1934. Curie was a trailblazer. Her achievements shattered barriers for women in science and changed the world forever.
She worked on something that was relatively obscure and turned it into a blockbuster. New elements, new properties, and a whole new way to look at the world.
Number 6, Charles Darwin.
Time. Unimaginable tracts of time is the key.
Charles Darwin wrote a book, and with it he wrote humanity's place in the world. Years of research and his famous voyage aboard the HMS Beagle led to an epiphany: the theory of evolution by natural selection. On the origin of species shook the foundations of science, religion, and philosophy alike. Darwin's idea that species adapt and change over time through natural selection, often summed up as survival of the fittest, is now the bedrock of modern biology.
We find in South America 3 birds which use their wings for other purposes besides flight. The penguin as fins, the steamer as paddles, and the ostrich as sails.
Though controversial in his day, his theory unified the life sciences. It opened entirely new fields of study. From medicine to genetics, his impact can be felt everywhere. Few individuals so thoroughly transformed how we understand life itself.
Darwin's bold idea was that species come from other species just as naturally as children come from parents. There was a word for this kind of thinking: heresy.
Number 5, Leonardo da Vinci.
He's sort of feeling his way into a field that had never been illustrated before.
Leonardo's groundbreaking dissections certainly informed his art.
Leonardo da Vinci was quite possibly the most gifted polymath in history. We know him for artistic masterpieces like The Last Supper and Mona Lisa, but he was so much more. Engineer, inventor, anatomist, Da Vinci was a visionary centuries ahead of his time. His notebooks revealed designs for helicopters, tanks, and flying machines that wouldn't be built for hundreds of years. As an artist, he revolutionized realism with techniques like sfumato and chiaroscuro.
It affected the younger artists, it affected his fellow artists, but they must have known there was a kind of force of nature in their presence.
As a scientist, he dissected human bodies to map anatomy with unprecedented accuracy. Many of his inventions never left the page, true, but his relentless curiosity bridged art and science in ways that transformed both forever. Leonardo seemed to excel in every field. He truly embodied the archetype of the Renaissance man.
He's somebody who says, pause for a moment and look at the way the water is falling into the pond. Those are the type of things he noticed, and I try to push myself to notice things that Leonardo would have noticed.
Number 4, Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great founded the Persian Empire. Then he grew it into the largest the ancient world had ever seen. In the mid-6th century BCE, he conquered the Medes, the Lydians, and the mighty Babylonians. Persia stretched from the Mediterranean to Central Asia. Unlike many conquerors, Cyrus isn't remembered for who he destroyed, but for the kind of ruler he became. He respected local religions, customs, and governments, leading through loyalty instead of fear. After taking Babylon in 539 BCE, he famously freed the Jews from exile and allowed them to return to Jerusalem. His policies of tolerance and pragmatic leadership set a model that echoed through history. The Cyrus Cylinder is still hailed as the earliest declaration of human rights.
Cyrus the Great is one of the few who deserves that epithet, the one who deserves to be called the Great.
Number 3, Aristotle. If Plato laid the foundation, Aristotle built the philosophical cathedral. A student of Plato and tutor to Alexander the Great, Aristotle became one of the most influential thinkers in history.
Excess in all things is the undoing of men. That is why we Greeks are superior. We practice control of our senses.
He wrote on nearly everything: logic, biology, politics, ethics, and physics. For centuries, his works were considered the final word on how the world worked. Unlike Plato's focus on abstract ideals, Aristotle was obsessed with studying the tangible. He covered everything from classifying animals to dissecting governments. His emphasis on observation and categorization shaped Western thought for millennia. Though not always correct by modern standards, his system of thought provided a framework for how to think. Ironically, his influence is too widespread to be accurately cataloged.
No field of thought escaped his grasp. The young man who had come to Athens more than 40 years earlier searching for knowledge had become an intellectual force in his own right.
Number 2, Albert Einstein.
But understanding time is essential to understanding relativity. Now, I want you all to close your eyes. Not to worry, I don't bite. But I am on the lookout for a new pen.
Few scientists have changed our understanding of reality as profoundly as Albert Einstein. In 1905, his Annus Mirabilis papers introduced breakthroughs on light, energy, and motion, including the now iconic equations E = mc². How many other iconic equations can you think of? A decade later, his general theory of relativity redefined gravity itself, predicting phenomena like black holes and the warping of space-time.
In Einstein's universe, then, if space were empty, it would be flat. There'd be nothing going on. But as soon as you put objects down, they warp the space and time around them, and that causes a deviation of the geometry so that now things start moving.
Einstein was also a public intellectual and humanitarian. He spoke against fascism, racism, and nuclear proliferation. He urged America to investigate atomic research during World War II, but later campaigned fiercely for peace. In 1921, he won the Nobel Prize for explaining the photoelectric effect, helping launch quantum theory. Equal parts scientist, activist, and cultural icon, Albert Einstein became the definitional genius.
He could see in ways that no one else could. He put together elements of the universe that others had not imagined would fit together. The general theory of relativity is one of the greatest achievements of the human mind.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. Hypatia of Alexandria. A pioneering philosopher and mathematician, she became a lasting symbol of knowledge.
Now, I am actually saying this to everybody here in this room. More things unite us than divide us. Now, whatever may be going on in the streets, we are brothers. We are brothers.
Galileo Galilei, the astronomer who proved Earth orbits the sun, earning both fame and persecution.
Galileo's downfall was not his inability to sway the church to his way of thinking, but rather his attempt at interpreting Scripture all by himself, independent of the church.
Joan of Arc, a peasant girl turned warrior saint, she led France to victory before her martyrdom. Mahatma Gandhi. He led India's independence movement through nonviolent resistance.
He began a fast in Calcutta, which he vowed to continue until the violence stopped. He refused to relinquish his vision of an India where the two communities could live in friendship and peace.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Isaac Newton.
His grand project was to understand all God's secrets, of the creation, of the forces that held the universe together, and of God's plans for the second coming of Christ and the return to pure Christianity.
Gravity was only the beginning for Isaac Newton. In Principia Mathematica in 1687, he laid out the laws of motion and universal gravitation. His breakthroughs explained everything from falling apples to orbiting planets. His discoveries defined physics for more than 2 centuries, proving that the universe could be understood through math.
By the early 1690s, after more than 20 years of research, Newton's alchemical experiments had yielded no scientific breakthroughs like those he'd made in math and physics.
Newton also helped invent calculus, built the first practical reflecting telescope, and revolutionized optics. He helped unlock the mysteries of the heavens, reshaping how humanity thought about the universe around us. From science to philosophy, his influence set the stage for the modern world. Few individuals have left such a colossal imprint on knowledge.
The problem for Newton was having anybody question what it was that he had done. He didn't want to tell anybody about it in the first place, but if he was forced to do it, you sure better believe what he said.
Who do you think left the biggest impact on history? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.